Imagine a baby, and then give it a second mouth for a stomach, and then make it a mascot for a children's asylum, and then call it Binky Drinky. This is Darkpals, the first floor, and the lore is so unhinged I just had to make this video. Darkpals is set inside Upward, a children's asylum built in 1980, and from the moment you walk in, you realize something's wrong. Not horror game wrong, but specifically wrong. The kind of wrong where every cheerful sign and pre-recorded announcement sounds completely normal, until you actually listen to what it's saying.
They will build, they will climb, they will never stop. Their hopes too high to ever drop.
That's the welcome message for kids being dropped off by their parents. Parents hear that and they think, yeah, sounds like a great place for my kid. And then they leave and they never come back. Because Upward wasn't a hospital, it was a conditioning program. 4 stages, they're even written on the walls. Submit, conform, consume, perform. That's their curriculum. No windows, artificial lighting, and strict schedules. Music on loops, hundreds of beds in a facility where outdoor time in the garden was a reward for good behavior, not a right. The illusion of freedom, designed to make children grateful for access to be able to touch grass. It was a prison, and you, as the protagonist, you show up to this place with just one tool. An adorable little toy that shoots ink to interact with objects. It's cute, it's harmless, except the asylum's own records say that the children holding one are supposed to perfect the harmony between the toy and the self in service of your new purpose. Your new purpose. Not their purpose, your purpose. The game also tells you before you even enter that this place knows you, which means you were here before. Whether you are a patient or staff, the game doesn't tell you. It just lets that sit there, quietly, while you walk through the building like everything is fine. It is not fine. First character we meet is Chompy Chasey. I mean, look at him. He has the biggest head I've ever seen on a living creature. Absolutely enormous head, and tiny little legs underneath it. Just anatomically wrong in a way that kind of makes you feel bad for him before he tries to bite you. Chompy's the security system. That's what he does. Upward didn't install cameras or hire guards. They made Chompy. He roams the asylum and bites anyone who doesn't belong, which, you know, kind of reminds me of someone. One bite, lethal, no warning, which is a slightly aggressive security policy, but you know, this is an asylum that conditions children through repetitive music, so we've already established that these people had ideas. Now here's how you stop him. The Upward code. Submit, conform, consume, perform. Input that anywhere near him and he goes immediately calm and docile. He just relaxes, like a dog that heard a treat bag, which tells you everything about how Upward trained him. The same conditioning used on the children also works on Chompy. It's the same 4 words, the same result. He's not just a security guard. He's proof that whatever Upward used on its patients worked on something that isn't even human. And by the end of the chapter, Chompy is the closest thing this game has to a hero, which says a lot about the rest of the cast. He saves you from Binky, takes real damage doing it, gets his tongue ripped out and thrown across the room. He still might not be dead. These things don't die normally, but that's not a good sign for Chompy specifically. Losing your tongue is a rough Tuesday. And then there's Binky Dinky. I mean, look at this thing. Take a second. That's a pacifier as a head on a baby's body with a second bigger, angrier mouth where the stomach should be. And those 2 parts, the pacifier and the stomach, they're not working together. They're 2 completely separate personalities just sharing one body. The pacifier is the calm one, the rational one, the one that keeps the stomach from just eating everything in the room. And the stomach is the part that wants to eat everything in the room. Upward's theory, based on documents found in the chapter, is that Binky might be 2 separate patients combined into one body, because the asylum pushed cooperation and friendship so hard that they literally decided to see what happened if 2 children became one. That experiment had a pacifier as the head, so they were already doing pretty well at the design stage. Now, there's a tape in this chapter dated January 23rd, 1984. A staff member is beating Binky on camera, and the framing of it, the way it's documented, that suggests that this was a standard procedure. Binky's function was to get patients to open up and conform, and when he failed to do that effectively enough, the staff corrected him. The same way the asylum was correcting the children. And then there's the cookie. A cookie comes to life, chases you, and then gets eaten by Binky. Now that's either a hallucination caused by the ink blaster altering your perception of reality, or it's the result of Upward's conditioning breaking your grip on what's real. Or, and I want to be clear that this is the least likely option, the children in the asylum were literally eating each other. Now the game leaves both options open. That just shows you that a cookie with a face running at you and then lets you think about it. I mean, I thought about it and I didn't like what I came up with. Binky's boss fight is the stomach winning. The pacifier, the rational side, loses control, and without it, Binky's just hungry. Pure, constant, directed at you. You retreat to the carousel and the carousel mechanism traps him. Pacifier head is physically ripped from the stomach body as the machine engages, and then he collapses. Is he dead? Probably not. But the pacifier is gone, which means there's nothing left to keep the stomach in check. If Binky comes back in chapter 2, he comes back as the stomach, just the mouth. No pacifier keeping anything under control. This is significantly worse. After Binky goes down, the carousel activates as an elevator. You ride it up to the second floor, which is the entire premise. Upward's motto is, the only way is up. You're moving through the building, floor by floor, towards something the game hasn't told you yet. And then a voice plays from the speakers. It's Cory. Welcome to the second floor, kids. Are you ready to submit? Cory is in this game. If you don't know which Cory I'm talking about, CoryxKenshin has a voice inside a children's asylum telling you to submit. That's the last thing you hear before the credits roll, which means either Cory is connected to Upward, a staff member, a figure of authority, someone who knew what this place actually was, or the developers just got him to voice a line and couldn't resist making it as deeply unsettling as possible. Both options are equally valid. Neither one is comforting. Now, there are a lot of open questions going into chapter 2. Who are we? What did Upward do to the children? What is the open house from January 1985? Because based on the dates in every document, that's the event that ended everything. And what exactly is waiting on the next floor? Because this building is several stories tall. Binky is presumably still alive with no impulse control, and Chompy just got thrown across the room with his tongue missing. Darkpals, the first floor, is chapter 1 of something that is clearly building toward a story this game has no intention of rushing. The lore is unhinged. The characters are wrong in specific ways that make them interesting, and the second floor is already confirmed. This game has so much potential, and you know I'm gonna be right here covering anything that comes out.
Another TV.
Binky, it's not that hard.
Oh.
You know what you're here for. Just get them to open up and conform.
Let's talk about what this place actually was. Not what Upward said it was, not what the posters said, not what the welcome recording said. What it actually was. A machine built to take children and disassemble everything that made them themselves. Their instincts, their resistance, their ability to question what they were being told, and replace all of it with compliance, submit, conform, consume, perform. 4 words written on the walls where children slept, where children ate, where children played under artificial lights because the real sky was a reward they had to earn. They were so close to normal and so far from it. Chompy was one of them. Whatever he was before Upward, whatever name he had, whatever bed was his, whatever reason his parents gave for leaving him here, he became this. The building's guard dog, trained on the same 4 words as everyone else, and by the end of chapter 1, he was the only thing in the entire asylum that tried to help you. That means something. Based on everything Upward built on the first floor, I don't think the second floor is going to be any easier. I don't think it's going to be kinder. Drop your chapter 2 theory in the comments. And what do you think is on the second floor? What do you think Upward was actually building towards? And what do you think happens when there's nothing left to keep Binky in check? If you want to be here when chapter 2 drops, subscribe.